following program on Ada Derana 24 is classified for general audience. It is intended for all ages. It contains little or no violence, no strong language, and little or no sexual dialogue or situations. The following program contains opinions of the participants and does not reflect the views and beliefs of the Derana Media Network. The network believes in a safe space for all ideas to be expressed without any censorship and on its duty to create such a platform for free speech. Viewer discretion is strictly advised.
Very good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Get Real, where we talk to notable newsmakers in Sri Lanka, abroad and around the world. We are trying to get a different take on stories that are happening here at home or abroad, and to give you a different perspective, because it's vital that you get the other side of the story as well. Tonight, as we come on the air, there is a massive conversation within Colombo, around in Colombo and in the media about this video by Channel 4. So again, Channel 4 is coming out with a very sarcastic mockumentary, I would call it, because it is not based on facts, it's based on hearsay. Basically what they are saying is Pillayan, who is a LTTE cadre who turned later on, his secretary is the one who's making these allegations. I think he's media secretary. And he's just pointing the finger instead of taking the or pointing the finger at the real reason of what happened at the Easter Sunday attack, actually Easter Sunday massacre, that made us to lose innocent over 275 innocent souls in this country. He's making it political instead of giving the attention and the due diligence and the respect those families need. And he's again taking this and making a mockery of this entire incident. Gotabaya Rajapaksa is no longer the president. He became the president. Apparently the people chased him away. But what is the truth? Joining me tonight is the 41st Chief Justice of Sri Lanka, Justice Sarath and Silva. Thank you very much for being here. You're coming on a very important day to discuss certain things. Why I want to actually have you is one thing, you were the CJ during the wartime, and you very well know what happened during the wartime and how things were in this country. And you have been working with these individuals who have been in question. I'm not going to ask you or I'm not going to insult you by asking you to respond to this baseless, worthless video that is being put out by Channel 4. But there is something that I want your response on. We had many investigations with regard to the Easter Sunday attacks, and that was done by a judicial portion of our nation. Is our judiciary so bad that we can't figure out what happened? Is that the case?
Mahieash, that's a good question. Channel 4 has been raising this kind of thing time and time again. The credibility has been always drawn in issue, and thereafter they dropped the thing. But the irresponsibility lies in the fact that without verifying the truth of what you are alleging, you publish that on a very sensitive issue. Now, Easter Sunday massacre took place many years ago. Yeah. There was a Presidential Commission of Inquiry. There was a case in the Supreme Court.
Yes.
Supreme Court, fundamental rights case in the Supreme Court, based on the Presidential Commission of Inquiry.
And there was a culprit also.
There was a culprit. There are people held responsible at different levels.
Former president had to pay 100 million.
He has to pay.
Has he not paid?
No, he has paid on 15 million. Yeah. He has to pay. So these proceedings went on. So if anybody had any information which is worth anything of consideration, anything to be considered by any, that could have been brought out at this time. Now, what you say, I really don't know the source. I'm sure you are, Mahieash, you must be having good sources of information. Is that this is Pilliyan.
Yeah. You know about him?
I know about him. I know about him because he was Chief Minister at the time. I was Chief Justice. So he was Chief Minister of the
Eastern Province.
So his secretary, whoever it may be, now he has now claims to have had access to our intelligence chief. Now, they are not on the same wavelength as that. You see, intelligence chief may have had contact with Pilliyan's people at an earlier stage.
Yeah.
That time intelligence chief, not the intelligence chief in issue. But at the time of the Easter Sunday attack, this Pilliyan has ceased to be.
He's gone.
he was in the Eastern Province. He has taken to open politics. He has contested one. So he is no longer in the business of terrorist activity, shall I say. He was in the business of terrorist activity earlier, but he had relinquished that. So I can't think of his secretary having access to the intelligence chief, who probably was not in the country at that time.
He wasn't. That's the. I mean, that is the part that I'm very surprised about. This video is going to come at 11 p.m. UK time, which means around 2:30 a.m. here. So they haven't aired the whole thing. They have just aired a portion of it, and in that particular portion, they say that apparently this entire incident. Please make sense of this, Chief Justice. But several individuals who believes in the faith of Islam, who is very much, indoctrinated in that particular radicalized version of it, comes to Colombo, meticulously plans this attack over several months, and the purpose of it, because if you actually go and look at the timeline when they started planning it, Gotabaya Rajapaksa coming to power was not even, nobody has even thought about it. Even Gotabaya Rajapaksa himself wouldn't have, because I specifically knows that he never wanted to come to politics. So they started that knowing apparently we are going to give power of this country to a Sinhalese Buddhist. Does that make sense?
No. None whatsoever. They don't align. You see, when you make up a story, now you know how to make up a story. When you make up a story, your elements must align.
Yeah.
Now, if you are fabricating a story, that's a basic thing. A person who is fabricating a story. Your elements must align. Even if you are writing a novel, your elements must align. So there is no alignment of these elements of this story. There is no alignment. And they are just thrown up with an ulterior objective. Now this country is not given a chance to settle down.
Yeah.
Now that's my main concern. I am here at your invitation because your concern here is appreciated. This country is not given a chance to settle down. Some issue is brought up. Some issue is brought up. Easter Sunday attack was a horrific attack. Yeah. And I was one of the first persons to issue statements on this. We had a dana in memory of these persons, the persons who died. So
it was a very personal one.
Very personal one, and all people, Muslims, Catholics, Sinhalese, Buddhists, everybody got together and condemned this out of hand.
And there we showed unity.
Muslims,
Christians,
Catholics, even the Cardinal himself.
Yeah.
He said there is no question of going against the one particular race or one particular religious group for this. This is a work of some kind of terrorist. But what the Catholic Church says, we want to get to the bottom of who was there, Not this, by the way, informants.
Yeah.
No one can say that the intelligence chief of this country had information of this and was
keeping his mouth shut.
Keeping his mouth shut, then he won't be intelligence chief. And if he is such a foolish person as to confide that
in Pillayan's media secretary. Yeah, it makes sense.
No, he is an experienced police officer who has been there for so many years. He is not going to confide in a person of this caliber. I'm not running down the person.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, but they are not on the. That's why I said the story doesn't align. They are not in the same.
Timelines doesn't align because at the time that they are saying this entire incident occurred, Suresh Saleh was not in the country. He was posted as a High Commissioner in Malaysia.
Yeah.
So he came in the dead of night to go into this, dingy place somewhere in the corner of Sri Lanka in order to have this conversation, and that's what we want to believe. Not the Commission's report, not the intelligence reports that we have been, going through over and over again. Chief Justice, it is very evident the facts don't align. It is just a flimsical, worthless, done by absolutely crass, pathetic journalists who wants to exactly the question. What do they want to achieve? Because they know this is BS. They know this is not true. They know but they still air it. They still want to put it out there. So what exactly do you think?
No, they want to create that's why I said this country is not allowed to settle down.
Yeah.
This country is not allowed to settle down by certain elements who want it to be destabilized. There are certain elements who want this country to be destabilized. And they are the people.
Last year we went through such an exercise.
We have been going through all at different intervals, Mahieash. We have been going through this. These things have been initiated to a great extent from external factors. Even the Easter Sunday attack.
Yes.
Even the Easter Sunday attack has been influenced by some external factors. There is no doubt about that. In my own mind, I have no doubt about that. Some external factors were involved in that. But who they are, we can't speculate because there have been commissions of inquiry and there have been court proceedings. There have been enough opportunity for this to be aired. But I have a feeling that some external factors were involved in this.
Yeah.
This was so from the beginning, from the 1971 insurrection, the LTT insurrections, all the other disturbances that took place. There are external actors who are involved. And that is the global scenario. If you take any issue anywhere in the world, they are not totally domestic.
Yeah.
There are external factors involved in this. If you take the war in Ukraine,
yes. It is America.
So many external factors are involved, and that country is not allowed to settle down. So there are external factors that. So we have to be very careful now. We, Sri Lanka, being an island, we can safeguard ourselves from these external factors if there is unity in this country on this issue. And I think you have taken a good start. Condemn this out of hand. So that no element here will pick it up and say, now probe this.
Exactly, because you can't probe something. If there is hearsay is the word of God, and if that is exactly what we're going to believe from now onwards, and especially from these hoity-toity individuals on Twitter, on social media, thinking they know the very best and not the commissions, because there is always this conspiracy theory going on, and they are a strong believer of that. Because if you do not believe, like none of them, okay, who did it? Oh, it is the opposing side. So that must be true. This lie must be true. They don't give the due diligence in order to verify the facts, understand it. And the thing is, there is a track record, right, sir, with Channel 4? Because,
yes, of course.
You very well know about the first video they did about Sri Lanka.
Yes.
And the credibility of that. What happened to that?
Appalling. And the whole thing fizzled off. Whole thing fizzled off.
Exactly. Now we are going to believe a new one.
No, what makes it move? Now that one fizzled off. That was a total failure. But
why was it a failure?
False. You can't sustain a falsehood for long.
Yeah.
When there's something false, you can just make a big noise about it. Thereafter it collapses. But of course that is enough to create a disturbance. Now that's the whole idea in this. Now this country, these issues are settling down. Then something erupts. Something erupts. Now intelligence chief, former defense secretary, president and so on. The alignment is that way. Alignment is that way. Somebody is made the target. Somebody is made the target. And here the poor intelligence chief is a means.
Yeah.
I think that person is having a very bad time.
Yeah.
So from somewhere something surfaces. From all accounts, I think he had done a reasonably good job. Yeah. He had done no, intelligence is some issue where you can never be successful 100%. Because you have to rely on various trails and things. So you can't be successful 100% because you don't know what the elements are in this. But anyhow, he has done a reasonably good job. His intelligence.
I think Suresh Saleh.
Suresh Saleh has done his reputation was good. There was no problem about it.
He was a good soldier for Sri Lanka.
He's a good soldier for Sri Lanka, and he's certainly not going to do. There is a certain level below which people don't transcend.
Yes.
So he is not a person who would transcend to this Pillai and secretary's level. That's a basic thing. And whoever who fabricated the story didn't know the variation of these characters. Why should he pick on this man and to confide in him?
Sheer stupidity, no, sir?
Sheer stupidity. No, but the thing is, it creates the ripples are created.
Yeah, of course. There are people who strongly believes in Sri Lanka. Even if they don't believe, they utilize this in order to create more chaos. If you look at the parliamentary proceedings during the day today, apparently it was so funny that the opposition leader said that why is a British news channel is telling us to find or get to the bottom of the Easter Sunday attack, and why should they say can't we do it because we have the ability to do it, and he basically says that we don't have to be told by the white man to do our job. And in that same breath he says, okay, we need an international inquiry. So apparently when it comes to the inquiry portion of things, Chief Justice, the judiciary is not good enough, because this international judges thing has been coming for quite some time, for this subject, that subject, for the war. Now it's about the Easter Sunday attack. Why do you think they don't trust the judicial system here?
No, I think in fairness to the leader of the opposition, he has hit the first chord right. He has hit the first chord right. Now he has to have a solution for the second part of it. Now what he says is, when you say we are prepared to face an international inquiry, that means to say we are completely clear of this. You can bring anybody from anywhere else, provided he is impartial. We don't mind that person looking into it. I think we should take it on
that level, yes.
On that level, because he has hit the first chord right.
Yeah.
He has hit the first chord right. Because it is useless putting it back to the judiciary. Exactly. Judiciary has done its optimum.
Are you confident, and do you stand by the commissions that did the investigation? You very well know these individuals who conducted the investigations, and you very well, like, they're your people who you move with, and you know them personally as well. Do you have confidence in them?
I have confidence in them. They are honest people. They are honest people. They worked very, very hard on this. I think they worked too hard on this.
Yeah.
They used to have sittings till late in the night. They probed every little aspect of it. Some of it need not have been probed even, because these things were fairly obvious. But they probed every little aspect of it. And they didn't leave any stone unturned. And they did their job to the maximum possible. They may have drawn certain inferences which may be sometimes overstretched, sometimes less. That always happens in a judicial finding. Someone can say later on, many years later, well, this they have gone little too much, this is less. But the thing is, their overall objective, they have looked into that. That is, they gave full opportunity for everybody to make representations. That's the basic thing.
Yeah.
Now, if you're having an open inquiry.
Then at that time, Pillaiyan secretary also could have come
Pillaiyan
and said
secretary
this.
or Pillaiyan anybody else could have come, because they were having sittings at the VMICH. And they were sitting till late in the night. I know that. Because one day I met one of those judges in the supermarket of the... And I said, from where? He said, I said, we never have sittings at this time. So they were taking, they took their task very, very seriously. And after that, the Supreme Court went mainly on those findings, because...
and the outcome of it also,
the Supreme Court
verdict.
Supreme Court verdict is is based on the commission
evidence.
The commission evidence, because there was nothing to dispute that. So Supreme Court said the commission has come to these findings. So on these findings,
we agree.
This is where the petitioners have been denied the fair protection of the law, equal protection of the law. That is a finding. No? That is a finding. So petitioner, then now there are so many other cases, damages cases. So many damages cases that are pending. So all this, basically, there are cases pending. There are damages cases pending. So Britain as a country should respect, this issue is not over here. There are damages cases that are pending. So many damages cases. So they are disrupting those judicial proceedings also. So when the matter is pending in courts, another country should not go and telecast things based on information gathered from here.
No, they didn't gather it from here. They basically spoke to this guy who is in the UK.
No, what I'm saying is source is here.
Yeah, exactly. The incident is here. Yeah, of course.
The incident is here. What they have collected the information there, but the source is here. So they should have said, first of all, there are proceedings there in courts. Why don't you go and... because otherwise it is going to impact on those proceedings. There are several cases that are pending. There is somebody has filed a private plaint against the former president.
Exactly. Let's take a short commercial break. We were talking about getting reactions from the 41st Chief Justice of Sri Lanka with regard to this mockumentary that is to be broadcast by Channel 4. The golden standard for British journalism. Go figure. Let's take a short commercial break. You're watching Get Real. We'll be right back. Welcome back everyone to Get Real. I'm in conversation with the 41st Chief Justice of Sri Lanka, Justice Sarath and Silva. We just got reactions from him with regard to that mockumentary which has been put forward by Channel 4. Now I want to shift focus, Chief Justice, with regard to what's happening in the country. Let's really talk about a real issue in this country that is affecting each and every one of us, which is the economy. Where are we? Apparently, we are following the blueprint that has been set forward by the IMF, and that's basically it. We are not coming up with other solutions or even thinking of solutions that is beyond the IMF. We are every day all those individuals who say, and I don't know, I assume they actually might be having pictures of IMF individuals in their home and they keep worshipping it every morning, because that's how they talk when they come into the media and to the public. But what do you think, sir? We've been told that the debt restructuring is occurring locally and internationally. We've been told that apparently the path is right, but all indicators around the country is not showing that. People are still suffering. People are going through severe hardships, not just a minor one, severe one. Apparently, government says everything is fine, but the rest of the country is not feeling that.
Yeah, that's Your initial question was really something that I didn't expect, but but I think we handled it well. Mahieash, now we are really getting real about the country itself.
That is the issue.
Yeah, we throw away the external
Rubbish.
factors. No, but that is a good move on your part. This is preemptive. Now, early Sri Lankans have a way to stay until the whole thing gets on your head. Yeah. And then now what you have done is a preemptive. In the military strategy, it's a preemptive attack. Yeah. We have to expose them right there at the beginning. Nip it in the bud. So your attitude was very good on this. Other basic issue, Mahieash, is which also touches me very personally. As far as I am concerned, personally, I am not affected by the financial crisis. My age is such, I have no maybe. But I feel sad. I feel sad about the plight of the people of this country. Now, we have got the governor of the central bank, the president, now you don't call him His Excellency, the president, all saying that the people have to now bear up. All saying that people have to bear up. Because we have to revive the economy. We have to revive the banking system. Now, on this matter, Mahieash, I think we have got our priorities wrong.
Okay.
We have got our priorities wrong. Economy and the banking system...
Too different.
No. They are almost the same. But they are there to serve the people. Now here, people are there to sustain the economy and the banking system. Now, what went wrong was in the economy and the banking system. There was nothing wrong.
Wrong policies.
Wrong policies. And wrong policies initiated by the IMF.
Yes.
Wrong policies initiated by the IMF. It's the IMF who opened up the economy in this country. Now, in 1977, we were fairly balanced. So, it's the IMF that opened out. And it's the IMF that said, you can run deficit. Deficit budgeting was their prescription. Spending was their prescription. Now, we have spent and spent. When you say spend, to a person, they'll spend.
Of course. It's like a shopping spree.
It's like a shopping spree. Now, I will give you just an example. Mahieash, we did the courthouse reconstructions.
Yeah.
We got assistance from the World Bank, IDA. 40 years, no interest. So that was good, $20 million. We finished, we did all the courthouses. After that, they offered a further $40 million to computerize. I said, it's useless computerizing our magistrates' courts and things. They will operate those computers. So, by the same terms, I said, no. So many people criticize me, sir, you are now refusing. I said, no. One day, our people will have to pay. It may 20 years later, 30 years later, 40 years, they'll have to pay. That's what happened. We have got this accumulated thing. Encouraged by these international agencies to spend. The ISBs were given by international syndicated banks. Pardon me for saying this, but when the first ISB was taken, I knew that I was in charge of the subject of foreign loans in the Attorney Department when I was there. But by the time, we never went for.
This was when?
This was during Chandrika's time. Okay. First ISB loan, it must have been about 2003-04, that period. $500 million, I still remember, HSBC ISB. First ISB was taken. Earlier, there was a situation where my son asked me, when you were handling it, didn't you have these problems? I said, no, when I was handling it, there were 6 lingams in this country who were running the finance. Bhaskar Lingam, Shamukha Lingam, and my counterpart in the central bank was Rajalingam. I said, I took a cue, although I am qualified, I have done my master's degree in one of these subjects. I took a cue from him. And I remember Mr. Rajalingam, I went so many times to New York with him for some of these negotiations. I asked Rajalingam, are you scheduling this? Because the central bank has to schedule repayment. He said, don't worry about it, sir. Central bank will never default in this country. These Rajalingam's words. Central bank.
And who was he, sir? Who was he?
He was the person in charge of foreign loans in the central bank. I was the counterpart in that Attorney Department. So those days, no loan got activated unless the AG signs that we are liable. So I used to get a trip. I had to do these things, study the thing with him. So I told my son, no, I really took a cue from him. But I got a assurance from him that are you scheduling this properly? Maybe
that was the golden standard, no? We will never default.
We will never default. Rajalingam said this. Rajalingam, I don't know whether he's in the land of the living or not. But central bank people know. Nandalal Veerasinghe will know.
We'll know, but that's the puzzling part.
That's the puzzling part, because he said, don't worry, sir. Central bank has got it all taped out. We will never default on anything. We didn't go for ISBs. But first ISB, Mr. Anil Wickramasinghe was leader of the operation. He made a public announcement that this ISB is illegal. He told the HSBC, we won't pay this. We won't honor this. That resulted in the margin being increased. Now you get a coupon rate, this rate, it's a finally simple transaction. But you complicate it with various things, margin increase, because now you are taken as a risk factor. Operation is not paying. But strangely, when he got into power, the most amount of ISPs were taken during that period.
2015 to 2019.
Most amount of ISPs. So we have had this, you can't understand. Now, he got it right. He knew. He knew this was illegal. He knew this is not proper. He knew the country can't afford. He knew country will. But you do the same thing. You do this. So, people are not responsible for this.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's the question.
And Mahieash, the thing is, they knew it. They knew it. And they went on doing it. Now you can't say, now people, you tighten your belts. You do this, you do that. Because they are very much responsible for it.
And on top of it, the people who actually got us to this point are still in power. And they are the ones who are basically steering the ship that they steer towards the rocks. Now they are saying, no, we are not going to steer towards the rock anymore. We are going to steer towards, better waters. But when you look at it, the way they are driving, the way they are doing things, it's basically what they have been doing for the past 75 years that got us to this point. And there are no novel, new approaches.
That's a very good take, Mahieash. They have to think out. They have to think out. Now the best, the thing is, I don't think now if you take the EPF and ETF, they are affecting the poorest segments, estate worker. The poorest segments.
And it's not a huge amount of money either to a person.
No, that's not a huge amount of money. Now, that is not, now I want this to be highlighted, Mahieash. That is not domestic debt. Now, we have, only in Sri Lanka, I think we have this law where we have an EPF and an ETF. Now, you are also a beneficiary. Your salary is cut. You take it for granted. But that is by law. And if your company doesn't make that contribution, those directors are going to jail. And several directors whom I know have gone to jail. So this is extracted by the government through through coercive means, I won't say. So saving is imposed on the worker and a contribution is imposed on the employer. And the central bank collects it. Central bank collects it. The governor of the central bank is the custodian
of the EPF funds.
ETF. Now, central bank gives it to the government on treasury bills. You can call it bonds,
whatever.
But it's the same person. The central bank and the government are not two distinct persons. So this is not debt. Now, this is like money taking from this pocket and putting it in that pocket. They are debt. So now, this is, to call it domestic debt is a misnomer. This is not debt. This is money held in trust by the central bank, held in trust for the workers of this country, extracted without their consent. Now, workers also would have wanted to keep that 10%. You also
I mean, right now they would have felt like if I kept it by myself, it would have been safer.
It would have been safer. You are quite right. And if the employer also contributed something, I would have been safer. Now extracted. Employers have gone to jail. Employers have gone to jail. And now they say, now we have given to the government. Now, it's the central bank that is responsible for giving it to the government. Now, you can't say...
Public didn't take the decision.
Public didn't take the decision. This is a very important thing. Public were not involved in this. Public act in the confidence. This is, in my view, criminal breach of trust. Criminal breach of trust. And now they are saying, your return, someone has nicely calculated, would have been minimum 7.4 odd. Now it has been dropping down to 4%. So people, when they know their savings are, when their extracted savings are being robbed by the government in this way, by the central bank. It's a central bank that is doing this. It's a central bank, and they say, no, now everything is all right, inflation is all right, inflation down. Inflation is down, but there is nothing to buy.
Exactly. No, I mean, like, it's a joke, sir, because apparently they played with the whole theoretical aspect of it in order to fool the people back in 2022. They used the word inflation because that was the indicator that could hammer Gotabaya Rajapaksa and the status that we were in. Now, when the government says that the inflation is going down because apparently they have to stand by the lie that they made prior, people are like, okay, why is everything pricey? Then why is everything going on? Now they're saying, okay, if you don't get that, you're an idiot, you do not understand. No, normal people don't understand this jargon. Nobody gets it, and that's the problem, because people think they are fooled on a daily basis by the very politicians that they are supposed to trust, and that's why we don't have trust in the politicians. Without understanding that little simple fact, we have, like, if you look at the I'm sorry to say this in front of you, sir. I call them the Colombo liberal idiot class because they act that way even though they're educated. They look down on this because apparently every single person in this country is supposed to get to know all these theoretical facts about economy and things like that. What you said is right. When you go and when you work hard for like 20, 30 years, you expect the EPF to be there to safeguard you in a rainy day. And when we go and take that, how unfair is that to the people of this country?
That's the thing. And it is not domestic debt.
Exactly.
It is something that this institution has misappropriated. If they gave a loan to the government, that means the government was spending this hard-earned money, savings, without irresponsibly.
Yeah.
The government would have been fiscally more responsible if the central bank said no. The central bank is the one that should have drawn the line and said, no, we can't do this. Now, in the United States of America, the Federal Reserve is an entirely independent institution. Now, ours is the central bank stands equal to that, somewhere close to that. So, they say, no, this is workers' money. If we are giving it to the government on treasury bills or whatever, it's the same institution. No?
Yes.
Now, all that is all right. But my problem is classifying this as domestic debt. It is not debt. In a debt, Mahieash, you have to have a lender and a borrower. Now, who's the lender in this? Central bank. Who's the borrower? Government.
Same thing. It's and like potato.
Who's the victim? People.
Who didn't take the decision.
Who didn't take the decision.
I wish I had more time to continue this conversation, sir, but apparently we are running out of time. But there is a lot more to dig into, because the thing is, education is the only way we can actually set a better future for ourselves as we move on. And I really sincerely hope our people will start looking at things in a different perspective, not the way they've been told. Even I always say, whatever you hear in this program, please don't blindly take it. You go and do your own research, figure it out for yourself. And if I'm saying something wrong, please let me know, so then I also can actually look at it and correct myself, because these are things that we always tell everyone. But then when we don't do it like that, then the results are that we keep on falling into the same trap over and over again. It's just the generation is different, but the problems and the incidents are basically the same. 41st Chief Justice of Sri Lanka, Sarath and Silva, thank you very much, sir, for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mahieash, for inviting me.
All right, well, that's all the time we have for you tonight. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be back again on Sunday with State of the Nation, and definitely we will be keeping you updated and giving you a different take on that bogus mockumentary that Channel 4 has done, a disgusting piece of worthless journalism, I would call it. I mean, if you're expecting something better, you shouldn't be expecting it from Channel 4, right? We have proven that the first one they did about Sri Lanka was just BS. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.
Que algún día podamos ver juntos las de Sorrentino. Que los hombres de este nuevo mundo lloréis bien tranquilos. Que ahora solo te puedo escribir canciones de amor a ti. Que ahora solo puedo descubrir mi amor a ti desde aquí. Que ahora has hecho que solo te puedo escribir canciones de amor a ti. Ya no existe más nada, no hay nada importante sin ti. Aquí canciones de amor. Es que solo puedo escribirle canciones de amor a él. Solo para ti. Estoy preocupada. Canciones que ahora solo